It may be hard to tell what this is, but this is my first attempt at a tabletop for my portable bandsaw. I cut out multiple paper templates, probably like 12 of them, trying to get this pattern up here correct. I think it's really close. The biggest question I have is whether or not the line that gets cut in here, which I actually just discovered is missing, whether or not that's in the right location. So I'll go add that line back and cut this out in 16 gauge material, just a piece of scrap, and if that fits well, I'll probably cut it out of something like 3/16. Now you can see this red line, that's where the bandsaw blade needs to go in. Assuming I've got that right, this should work out well. See if I can give you a decent shot. I wish I could get an overhead shot. I need to build something to do overhead shots, but this first fit, oh, that is really good. It's not bad at all. Usually don't get that right on the first measurement. I think the only thing I need to do on tweaking the pattern, if I want it just a teeny bit tighter fit, is to lower this line right here by about a 32nd of an inch, and that'll allow this line to touch. That's really no big deal though. And this is a vent hole right here for the tool, and I'm clear of the fan, so no issues there. Well, I took the mill scale off of one side, major pain in the butt. I'm not going to take it off of the other side. I wasn't planning on doing that anyway. I barely decided to even take it off on this side. Just kind of reminds me why I typically leave it on. I don't care. This is kind of warm. So what I need to do now is just make some simple legs or something to attach this. I'll end up drilling a couple of holes in this. One will be up for a mounting screw to clamp down on this plate to help hold it on, and then there'll be another one back here which will allow the pitch of the saw to be adjusted so that I can get it vertical. I need to let this cool down now. I actually think those weld marks look kind of cool on top. I don't think I'll take them off. I might just put a clear coat on this or something and leave that. I was going to flip the feet on the inside so these didn't stick out any further and take up any bigger footprint, but then I figured I'm going to have to reach in further and clamp it on the table and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'll just keep it on the outside. It didn't make much of a difference anyway because it was coming down this far anyway on this section. So I just designed the feet the way I did just because I thought it would look nice. I did leave some 3/8 holes in it in case I ever do decide to mount it to something in the future, like a wood table or something, which I don't have. But it's just kind of a thought. This is 3/16. You may be wondering if these flex in comparison to each other. I'd touch the plate and show you, but it would hurt because it's hot, and it does flex. If I were to do it again, maybe go 1/4 inch, but the 3/16 should hold up just fine. All the pressure is going to be out in this area. This foot is going to be supporting both sides of this, right in this whole area, and the only possible place it might flex is right back here, which I don't think it's going to. So just a thought. So if you ever do this in the future, maybe go 1/4 inch. I went 3/16 because I wanted to make sure that that breather hole wasn't plugged up. I wanted it to breathe a little better, and that extra 1/16 of an inch gives you just that much more room. It's probably about a 5/16 inch hole, so I just wanted to leave a little bit of room. Anyway, let me give you some overall dimensions. Table's 12 inches wide, 11.5 inches deep, roughly. On the long side, on this other short side where it mounts, it's a little shorter. This throat, I believe, is 5.5 inches. Sorry. The table overall height is about 9 3/4 inches. And the overall footprint, I believe, according to my CAD, was 15 inches, but I put on these 1/4 inch things. So we're probably more like, let's see, there to there. We're about 15 inches square on the bottom. Let's do the front to back. Yeah, about 15 inches is good. So that's not a bad footprint. One thing I've discovered with this table, because of this split right here, these legs on the back can easily separate, and it could force this to bend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice these two legs together with this piece so that they cannot separate, and then that should in turn strengthen this up here from ever having a problem. There. Now this should be structurally just fine right up here. No chance of it bending and separating. The front I'm not so worried about. I mean, if I were to grab that leg and really yank on it, I could probably bend this if I really wanted to, but just for what it is, as long as these two legs don't separate with the unit back here, this should stay just fine. all painted up and a little more rust resistant now. I'm going to let it sit for probably another 24 hours before I end up putting the saw back on it. But it works well. You probably see it in future projects. And I think I'm going to store it up here. Fits really well. Trying to organize my garage. Now I'm gotta work on this mess. Okay, here it is all complete. So I cut this out of 3/16 inch plate. I would go at least a 1/4 inch. This fits in here very well. And there is an adjustable screw right here to try to change the pitch of the blade a little bit if you have to, but mine actually came out really square. And the reason why it did is if you look at the bottom, this cammed lever grabs onto this plate right here, and it holds it tight against the plate here. And because of that, it holds it on really well and really straight. I haven't had any problems. So I'll go ahead and put a link in the description for this cam that I have here. It's actually, I drilled a hole in here originally, and you saw me, I welded it, and that actually holds it on really well. I can still adjust this lever in and out by screwing it in and out. I do like having the Milwaukee Portaband. There's certain tools that I don't want to buy at Harbor Freight, and this was one of them. I'm sure the one at Harbor Freight is fine, but I plan on using this quite a bit, so I just kind of splurged on and bought myself this Milwaukee one. The reason why I didn't get the DeWalt one, because I do have a lot of DeWalt tools, is because it had, I believe it had a deeper throat and everything like that. It has this LED light that I have on right now. It's probably hard to tell because of all the lights that I have in my garage now. But if I turn this off, you can see, I would say it's not like super bright, but with all the lights I have in my garage, I don't need that. To tell you a little bit about this, I did put these feet on it. I did put areas for bolt holes for the future, should I ever have an expanded garage and a dedicated location for this. But as it is now, what I end up doing is just putting this down on my welding table or on the ground, doesn't matter. And on my welding table, I can clamp it down if I need to, if I'm messing with big pieces. But small pieces, it's fine as is. On the back, I ended up combining those feet with a piece of bar stock. And the reason why I did that is because this flex point that's created right here, with all the weight on the legs, it was flexing a little bit, and this prevents that from happening. So I would recommend doing that. And then I have this switch. I have to do something to hold the trigger down, or maybe get a foot switch or something like that, which I might do. But to turn this on and off, there's off. I mean, if I pull the trigger, oh yeah, sorry, I'm plugged directly into the wall right here. What you do is you plug it in back there. I can't show you. So on the back side of that plug, there's these two sockets you can plug in there and control everything right here, which is great. But you do have to have something to hold the trigger down. You could use a clamp, you could use Velcro. I used this Velcro strap, but I actually wanted to, this one's kind of long, and so I wanted to use this one for the cord here, which I'll do. But I think I'll order something for that one that's a little bit smaller. But anyway, this is my little table, and that, all you have to do is drop this cam and that slides out and you can use it manually.